Welcome to World Transits Today, practicing in the tradition of Stanislav Grof and Richard Tarnas, blending consciousness research with astrology. I'm Art Granoff. Today, June 22, 2021 on World Transits, special Archetypal News Network edition, we explore 3 planetary archetypes. Mars, Saturn, and Uranus, focusing the spotlight on 3 current transits: Saturn square Uranus, Mars square Uranus, and Mars opposite Saturn. Let's start with Saturn square Uranus. Hey, this is the 3-year transit, got here at the beginning of 2020, runs through the end of 2023. Saturn closes, is cold, tightens. Uranus opens, is warm, loosens. Saturn, the symbol of tradition, culture, the system, harvesting the recommended lifestyle, getting the fruits of what was. With Uranus, the pattern of promise, innovation, the freshly planted garden, buds in the fall, what may be. Saturn limits, restricts, holds back, then pressures towards conformity, advocating form, finding strength in the past, family, country, religion. Saturn as matriarch, we lose ourself in group thinking, just like when we're children. Saturn equals safety. Saturn's also too safe, the cruel prison of certainty. It says so in the book. You must. You ought to. Uranus, unbound, unconstrained, relieves pressure, opens packages, doors. Uranus, the process of stuff released from a container, a body getting born. Also disruption, chaos, trickster, the usurper, barbarians arriving from the north. Uranus, fresh air after the rain. Saturn with Uranus, finding new ways to restrict, remain, contain, or finding new ways to open, go, liberate. Saturn-Uranus in the news from the blog Letters from an American by historian Heather Cox Richardson. Lawmakers are jockeying before today's test vote in the Senate on S1, Before the People Act. This sweeping bill will protect the right to vote, ends Saturn partisan gerrymandering, limits the influence of money in politics, and establishes new Uranus ethics and rules for presidents and federal office holders. Today, the Senate will also take a crucial vote on whether to start debate on major voting rights legislation. It's not a vote on any particular policy. And from the Wall Street Journal editorial page, eliminating the Senate filibuster would end the freedom of America's political innocence. America's political innocence. They write, the lives that political nobodies spend playing, praying, fishing, tailgating, reading, hunting, gardening, studying, and caring for their children would be spent rallying, canvassing, picketing, lobbying, protesting, texting, posting, parading, and above all, shouting. What's startling, yet not so much, is that those views are completely obsolete, but not so to the donor class. It's 2021, man. We have the internet. Everything's transparent. The United States itself, claiming freedom from Mother England, creates a master class of wealthy individuals who are accountable to no one. Sort of like a king with peasants. Is the United States really just a continuation of the British royal system? Keep it the same for the benefit of some, but market it differently? Saturn, fear, remain the same, suppress voters, retain control, the bottom line. Uranus, release, what's new, fresh, voting, majority wins elections, open opportunity, the search for tomorrow. We have Mars square Uranus, just started through late July, a 5-week transit. The planetary archetype Mars is about strong will and muscular activity. Mars reflecting a person with an attitude, weapon, or maybe a saxophone ready to strike. Something important needs to be done. Nothing's right unless a service or the song is performed. Whatever the mission, whatever the debt, let's leave it to Mars, conjuring up action, then enabling constructive or destructive control. Uranus about opening, releasing what's ready. When something's caught, when it's physically impossible to get through, there's Uranus leading the charge, getting out of a tight spot, removing obstacles, limits, like getting born in the first place. Mars with Uranus as the skillful doctor delivering care, preserving a patient's life. Performing her duty, she releases the current obstacles to health. Using our strength, our will, guiding our actions. The professional who takes an oath is dedicated to humanity's well-being. Mars with Uranus, standing up for what we believe in. We're selfless or selfish, as my will, drive, and determination must be expressed. The political activist proclaiming freedom against the tyrant, the system, bringing fresh ideas, then the blowback. Mars-Uranus, civil liberties. Let's meet Daniel Ellsberg. That's him right there. And from the American conservative, the Pentagon Papers' legacy after 50 years. The courage of all those involved, including journalists at the New York Times, has all but vanished after half a century. In 1971, Daniel Ellsberg leaked the Pentagon Papers, a secret U.S. government history of the Vietnam War, to the Times. No one had ever published such classified documents before, and reporters feared prosecution under the Espionage Act. A federal court ordered the Times to cease publication after a flurry of excerpts were published. The first time in U.S. history, a federal judge had invoked prior restraint and shattered the First Amendment. In a legal battle, the New York Times fought back. The Supreme Court on June 30, 1971, handed down a victory for the First Amendment in the New York Times Company versus the United States, and the Times won the Pulitzer Prize. The papers convinced Americans the Vietnam War was wrong, their government could not be trusted, and the people, informed by a free press, will have a say in things. Mars, direct action. Uranus, freedom. And just to show the relevance here, let's take a look at his chart. There we go. And wouldn't you know it, he's got a Mars, Saturn, Uranus T-square, like the one we're talking about today. And Mars opposite Saturn, which we'll get into right now. Thanks, Daniel Ellsberg. Mars sextile Saturn. Mars, again, the impulse to act, to do, to go out and get what I want. Mars furnishing the aggressive, competitive, and combative energies of life. Think the Catholic Church, U.S. government, Wall Street, Silicon Valley. Aspects and transits to Mars tend to initiate, to assert, often with strength or increased conflict and aggression. Saturn, restriction, limit. My belt's too tight. I'm stuck. lashing out, pointing at others for our problems. It must be them, the Muslims, the blacks, the Russians, or lawless society favoring the rich and powerful, strong in punitive action, keeping unequal advantage. Saturn's also the determination to build, to erect frames grounded in a system. Saturn is stuff inside of something, bound, dwelling in an enclosed environment. Saturn's either a problem or a benefit. Mars about individual will and action, force and heat. Saturn about persistence, anxiety and limit. Pressure, tension, based on where we've been. Mars with Saturn offers the drive to proceed towards a goal. We can complete projects and confront challenges, expecting results. We can work our butts off. Two strong individualist forces combined. Also, we may be filled with fear, stuck and depressed. We may be irritable. Watch for sharp boundary collisions. We're aggressive and punishing. And many times, some are inflamed with us. So if you keep a transit journal diligently and record your impressions about each transit, often you're on top of this transit experientially. If not, and your journal just can't be found, using the Archetypal Explorer timeline is almost as good. Let's check out Saturn with Uranus on the timeline and add Mars gaining perspective on this exciting trio. Starting in 2020, within months, the coronavirus takes over. Notice in March and April, we have Mars square Saturn, Mars square Uranus, in addition to Saturn square Uranus. Then in the summer, all the forests burning in the West Coast, the lead up to and then the U.S. presidential election, the beginning of the big lie. Then on January 6th, the bloody riot by Trump partisans, the U.S. Capitol invasion by Americans. Pretty heavy. Now, here we are in June and July of 2021. We have Mars square Uranus, Mars opposite Saturn, in the middle of Saturn square Uranus. Then come fall, just in time for the holidays. We get the return of Mars and Saturn and Mars Uranus in the midst of Saturn square Uranus. So, 2020 and 2021, lots of Mars, Saturn, and Uranus. And just one more thing, I'm thinking about Mars, Saturn, and Uranus themes, wondering who embodies these characteristics. And with that said, please welcome Thelonious Monk. You know him, right? Thelonious Monk. Born October 10th, 1917, an American jazz pianist and composer. Besides his unique improvisational style, Monk added numerous contributions to the standard jazz repertoire, including Round Midnight, Ruby My Dear, Well You Needn't. Thelonious Monk is the second most recorded jazz composer after Duke Ellington. Monk's compositions and improvisations are dissonant, with angular melodic twists, consistent with his unorthodox approach to the piano, combining highly percussive attack with abrupt, dramatic use of switched key releases, silences, and hesitations. Thelonious Monk, one of the 5 jazz musicians to have been featured on the cover of Time magazine. And here's his chart. And what a chart it is from what we've been talking about. Monk has Saturn opposite Uranus. Saturn, Uranus in the sky. Saturn fear, remain the same. Suppress the voters, remain control. Oh, Uranus, release, what's fresh, what's new. It's excitement, opportunity. He's got Mars with Uranus, standing up for what we believe in. He's Prometheus, bringing music from the gods to us. And Mars-Saturn conjunction. Mars is about individual will, actions, force. Saturn's about persistence and limit. Mars with Saturn offers the drive to proceed towards a goal. He's black. He plays weird. He's ahead of his time. He has the will, force, and strength to continue in the face of resistance. Thelonious Monk as Prometheus. He brings fresh original music, challenging the way it's done. He's criticized, mocked. He suffers being chained to a rock, but now is released by young and old players and fans alike, recognizing him as a musical messiah. You can check out Thelonious Monk concerts, either solo or with ensembles, on YouTube. So thanks for tuning to World Transits Today, everybody. Archetypal News Network edition, as we explore the Mars, Saturn, and Uranus T-square. World Transits Today is available at my site, Reference Astrology, and the audio version at Apple Podcasts. And see you tomorrow.